Hi everyone, I'm Benjamin Ittah. I'm in charge of the development of Hashdex in Europe, and today I'm sitting down with Dramane Meite, our head of product for the United States and Europe. Hashdex has expanded into Europe in 2022. So I wanted to ask you, Dramane, what differentiates us as a crypto ETP provider in Europe?
Hi, Dramane Meite. I'm head of product at Hashdex, as Ben said, and I've been with the firm for more than 2 years now. So I think, Ben, at Hashdex, we define ourselves as the king and queens of crypto solution, right? So one of the key differentiator of Hashdex is that focus on investment solution, because we believe that crypto is more than Bitcoin, crypto is more than single asset. The second thing that is a key differentiator of Hashdex is the product and the legal excellence, right? I think we cut no corner when it comes to how we structure our product, the service providers that we work with, because we want to do what is best for our client at the end of the day. And the third thing that differentiates Hashdex is education. Crypto is a new asset class. We believe that we have a duty to educate our clients so that they understand what they are putting in their portfolio. So that's why we've done so many things, especially the Nasdaq Crypto Academy, the Nasdaq Advisor Academy, that enable us to educate advisors and bring them to the asset class. And the fourth thing that you do a lot of is really around the institutional quality and the white glove service, because we come from traditional financial market, and we believe that our role is to service our client with white glove service and really onboard them to the asset class. So that's some of the few things that makes us different.
Okay, so Dramane, over the last months, we've seen a lot of excitement from European professional investors, and it seems to us that they really want to understand the asset class, how these blockchain networks work, but mostly why it's such an interesting investment opportunity. So from your perspective, I wanted to know what are the key highlights explaining why now could be a very interesting moment to enter the asset class.
Sure. I guess the better time to invest in crypto was yesterday. If we didn't do it yesterday, maybe today. So I think this is a good time. So there's like the key trend that we've seen in Europe, because we've been doing that for 2 years or so, is there's definitely more and more maturity in the asset class, right? So what we've seen over the past few years is the underlying blockchain technology is maturing. We see more use cases of it. All these large companies using blockchain to do tokenization or real world asset or stablecoin and all that. So the technology is maturing, but the space is also maturing, because we've seen all these large asset management companies file for Bitcoin ETF in the US. Like a few years ago, these guys were talking about Bitcoin is a fraud, but see how much of the jump that is. So I think that institutionalization of crypto or the underlying blockchain technology on one end, and the institutionalization of the people that want to offer crypto investment solution on the other end, is a key driver of maturity is coming. That's one element. The second element of why now is we have more regulatory clarity, right? In Europe, we have MiCA. In the US, we have the SEC that are, approved the spot Bitcoin ETF, and they are filing for, spot Ethereum ETF. So there's generally more and more regulatory maturity. And the third element is just there's been macro and economic volatility. But despite all of that, we've seen, especially Bitcoin has resisted very well. Last year was like a very difficult year for risky asset overall, but Bitcoin did very well. So that makes us believe that Bitcoin is gaining more and more prominence as the asset that you want to own, where the world is going, sideways, right? So I think a lot of these things reinforce our thesis that this is a generational investment opportunity, and this is a great time to get into the asset class. One of the things that our clients like as a comparison is this is like investing in internet in 1999, right? When Facebook, not Facebook, my bad, when Google or PayPal were just getting created. Imagine you would love to have invested in internet then, and I think that's why we think in crypto years it's almost like 1999, and this is a good time to get in because it's so early as crypto people say.
So you mentioned about Bitcoin, but at Hashdex we have this index positioning. Can you, maybe in few words, explain why we believe that crypto is more than Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think it's like, if you're investing in China, you will not only invest in Alibaba, right? If you're investing in France, you will not only invest in Total Energy. So I think that's the same thing with crypto, right? But think that as much as Bitcoin is very dominant today, crypto is an emerging technology. And with the emerging technology, the most important thing is we don't know what would be the winners in the long run. So our belief is if you want to invest in crypto as an emerging technology with all the potential that we think it has, you have to invest in the asset class, not in single asset. That's one. And two, realistically, it's very hard even for very seasoned investors to pick single asset that do better than the market. That's what we see in traditional finance markets, right? That's why, ETF is working so well, because active investment is challenging in itself. So that's why I think as a company, we think an index-based approach is what will work for most of the investors, because you capture the upside of the asset class without having to choose the individual asset. So that's why we believe in index and crypto is more than Bitcoin.
And so that being said, our flagship product across the world is the Nasdaq Crypto Index strategy. So it's a beta market cap weighted index. Can you explain to us why we believe that this is the most sophisticated market cap weighted index, and why we believe it's very suited for institutional investors, and how maybe it compares to other basket products we can see on the market?
Yeah, so I think most of the other basket product that you see in the market we cap the number of constituents. It will be like top 5 or top 10, right? But as you know, if it's only a top 5 or top 10, when the market grows, a top 5 or top 10 will not be capturing most of the market. So these indices are not future-proof. The difference that we have with the Nasdaq Crypto Index is it's a dynamic index. So we don't have a set number of constituents. We just aim to capture as much of the market as possible. So that's very important. So our index is future-proof. Our index is also dynamic. Like every quarter, there's a rebalancing. So if you have an asset that grows in importance for the industry, they will be eligible to the universe. That's very important, because that's a promise of, you will capture more and more of the crypto market, and the index will do it directly for you, right? And over and beyond this dynamic and, the number of constituents not being set, I think the beauty of the Nasdaq Crypto Index, and really one of the key value out of Nasdaq, is all the rules that Nasdaq put around making sure that the investment universe is regulatory and legal proof in a way. So we'll only invest in assets that are available on 2 regulated exchanges and supported by 1 regulated custodian. By doing so, what we're doing is it's only asset that we know that the market has accepted that will put in our indices. I think that's very important for institutional investors, because that shields them from reputational risk. So I think these are some of the elements that uniquely position the Nasdaq Crypto Index as an investable universe and a regulatory and reputational risk sort of proof index as well. And we know that a lot of professional investors are looking for these qualities in an index.
So when we are on the road, there's always this topic of, asset allocation, integration of crypto within a traditional portfolio, diversification benefits, etc. We have launched on our website our new asset allocation simulator. Can you maybe in a few words explain why we think it's a great tool to help investor with this regard?
Yeah, I think usually a lot of what you hear about crypto, Bitcoin, it's risky, it's very volatile, it's not good for most of the people. But that doesn't make much sense to us, right? Because we know that an investment has to be understood in the context of the portfolio. So what we always wanted to do is to empower our investors to understand what's the impact of adding 1%, 2%, 3% of crypto in your portfolio, because that's what really matters, right? And that's why we build the portfolio simulator, so that investors could go there and really build their own portfolio. So it's very sophisticated. There's a lot of asset classes. It's not going to be a typical 60-40. We've added enough flexibility so that you can add, gold, for instance. You can have different type of US equity, European equity. So you can really build your a truer version of your portfolio. And then you can simulate how much having 1% in a broad, diversified crypto strategy, such as the Nasdaq Crypto Index, would add to your portfolio. So I think investor can easily see that even a small allocation to crypto improve the Sharpe ratio of your portfolio. And one of the most interesting things that we find is the more conservative the investor portfolio, the bigger the impact of even a 0.5 or 1% allocation to crypto. And that speaks to the diversification benefit of, you have a very conservative portfolio. If you allocate to crypto, it has a lot of, outperformance and diversification benefit.
We are starting 2024. We are very optimistic about the asset class, about the adoption by professional investors. We wrote a lot about it in our outlook. But in terms of development, of growth, like, what's your view on Hashdex plans for this year?
Okay, I think we in Europe, we think different markets in Europe have different maturity. What we find is the Swiss market is probably the most mature in Switzerland, and you've been doing a lot of work covering the professional client in Switzerland, and we think that's still a key focus because there's so much to do there. But more and more, we also believe that there's a great opportunity on the retail platform side, and so we'll spend more time looking at the retail platform in Switzerland. But Germany is also a key market, right? Because it's a large financial center, but again, the retail investment segment is very, very, very vibrant there. And there's been enough regulatory changes in Germany that would now enable certain institutions to invest up to 20% in crypto. So we think that's going to be a very compelling opportunity. I think over and beyond that, we continue looking at France and the Benelux region, because we think although they are not as mature, they will be coming into play in the not too distant future in Europe.
It seems that what happened in the US in January with the SEC, kind of giving a reputational, benediction, or maybe credibility for the asset class has a lot of impact in Europe, right?
We think so. That's what we see with clients. I think essentially, if a product is available in the US and the SEC has come around approving a Bitcoin ETF, if you think about how aggressive or anti-crypto they were, and they've come around to approving a product, I think that's a very strong signal that, there's an asset class, it's an investable product. So it's very hard for people now to be like, I don't want crypto, and it doesn't matter. So I think that has sort of provided a shield to a lot of private bankers, wealth managers, to be like, oh, we could actually offer a crypto product to our client. I think that's really helped a lot in the conversation that we have with professional investors across Europe. So that's a positive development.
Excellent, Dramane. Thank you very much for your answer, and we are highly looking forward for a great 2024.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben.